just create a whole bunch of content, like, post something daily, and it's gonna work. I won't say it won't work, because there's going to be a few outliers that do. It is a lot more difficult today than it was even 2 years ago, because of the fact that more and more people are doing this. The platforms like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, they're getting way smarter. And AI is now actually watching all your videos and watching how people react to them. And if your stuff is not really interesting, it is going to stop at less than 100 views, and you're really not going to get the reach that you deserve.
All right. Well, welcome to this episode of What's Working Today in 2026 for Coach Skills. And my guest today is Ken Okazaki, who is the master of video, and particularly short form video. And I want to bring him on today because I think everyone who's listening knows that we've talked about social media. Social media is something that everyone should be doing, and video is another part of it. And Ken has done he's done them all. He's done video at events, he's done long form video, he's done short form video, and he really specializes now in coaching folks doing short form video. In fact, I've worked with Ken now, gosh, Ken, I don't know, is it 2 years, 3 years? I can't remember. um but
There's a few of them.
it's a few of them. We've known each other for years and years through the Tony Robbins environment as well. But I am honored to bring and get to have this conversation with my video mentor, Ken. So, Ken, we're so glad to have you.
Thanks, Alex. And I really appreciate you having me on the show. I would first, put a little side note there. I don't think I've mastered this. I still, we're still learning, and we're figuring stuff out as we go, and the world moves pretty fast. But you are right. I have done a lot over the years, at least a decade of helping people, especially,
Yeah.
the services and coaching industry, figure out how to wrangle this thing called video and turn it into a business asset.
Well, I'm gonna push back on that because you and I both have a martial arts background. And there's the idea of becoming a master in martial arts. Like I've trained in Taekwondo for, gosh, I started in 1992. And there's like the black belt level where you have a level of expertise, but you're not called a master typically until you're about 10 years in. But even past, you know, being a master doesn't it's not the end all be all. It's that you have I've heard it this way in martial arts too. Like in martial arts, you've mastered the techniques or whatever it is, not just when you know the techniques and you can implement them really well, but you can also teach them and know when to do something as well as when not to do something. The appropriateness and the context, which is so important. And I think in marketing, in particular in video, it's going to be pretty important. I just think about some of the things that we've talked about. Like there's such an art to video because there's not just these rules. Like always start with this hook. It's not just this formula. And you actually, one of the things I love, and I hope we get to talk about today, is the frameworks that you have. But they're not like scripts, and they're not rules, and they're not like formulas. It's like you follow this framework, but you plug in yourself. And I won't give away all of the stuff. I'll let you do that, but I might throw in a couple ideas that I just know that are brilliant that I've learned for you. So Ken, tell us this. Okay, here we are. It's we're talking about 2026. What is something now that maybe a lot of coaches have heard or even doing that, frankly, just doesn't work anymore? And particularly if it's something that a lot of people are still teaching that frankly isn't working today.
Yeah. So I'm going to hit this from two different angles. Okay. The first one is that, just create a whole bunch of content, like, post something daily, and it's going to work. I won't say it won't work, because there's going to be a few outliers that do, but it is a lot more difficult today than it was even 2 years ago, because of the fact that more and more people are doing this. The platforms like, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, they're getting way smarter. And AI is now actually watching all your videos and watching how people react to them. And if your stuff is not really interesting, it is going to stop at less than 100 views, and you're really not going to get the reach that you deserve. So the thing that stopped working is just sheer volume. Now, I think that there's still value there. There's value in doing sheer volume in order to, get comfortable in front of the camera, in order to build a strong habit, in order to, get the kinks out of the system from when you shoot to edit to post. So there's value there. But expecting this to be a pillar of marketing, of lead generation for your coaching business is going to be much more challenging than it used to be, and there's way better ways to do that. Now, on the other side, people who are already creating, and they might be doing quite well. Something that's going to stop working and is working less and less is running ads from video straight to a call to action, like book a sales appointment, or join my free webinar, or get a guest pass to my live event. Like, that is really more challenging and more expensive, and the conversions are tougher. And I think it's because so many people are doing it again, and we get hit with way more ads of competitors and similar people, that every conversion is much tougher, and people want to feel like they're making their own decision. They don't want to be feel like they're being led by the nose, through a funnel, and click here, click this next thing, this upsell, this downsell. Will you make money? Yes, you will, but you'll get less return on your ad spend, and you'll be facing a lot more cynicism on with the sales experience, especially if you're selling something that's going to be $1,000 or more per month, or let's say like a $10,000 plus package.
Yeah.
That's going to be challenging. So yeah, those are the things that are not working like they used to.
So you bring up something interesting, because when we think of social media, I think a lot of people, at least the very first thing that I think of, is actually organic, meaning the stuff that we post just straight onto our profile, our Instagram, our TikTok, or whatever it is, without putting ad spend behind it. But you brought up a great point, which is video ads, which in some ways can be the exact same thing, just put money behind it. In other ways, they might be built into a funnel or whatever that makes it, that has a very, very specific purpose in there. So what is working then, and why don't we, and well, let me ask you this first. When you're talking about video, how much difference, and I, I don't know how much you've looked into this new, or you've learned about this new Andromeda update from Meta. So this is like the hot new thing that anyone who's running paid traffic, or teaching paid traffic, or gets paid to run paid traffic, is like either super, super concerned about in a bad way, or super happy about
Mm.
it. So first, let me ask: have you heard about it? Do you know like what it's all about?
The Cliff Notes version, but is there something specific about it?
The Cliff Notes version of it is pretty much this, and this, as a guy who's made my business running paid ads for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Andromeda's update was really to the volume of AI stuff that was coming in. And people were doing all these tricks and these hacks to try to get their stuff seen. Well, now, just like you said, Ken, the AI is watching and reading all of your stuff. And so now what it does is, instead of us setting who we want to send it to, I want to show it to moms age 35 to 55 who live in this area, who like
Mhm.
who like IKEA and Crate and Barrel. Forget all that stuff
Let AI decide for you.
and let AI decide for. And the way it decides is, what do you say
Hmm.
in your
Yeah.
video?
So
It's
if you're talking
almost
about,
like, I don't know. I thought about it, Ken. It's almost like you're talking to an actual person. Could you believe that? Your marketing has to be like you're talking to a real person. And
mm,
so, like, and what this really made me think of was, that's how our organic video. That's what we have to do. There's no targeting in organic video. So
so I get where you're coming from, and I might be offending some people by saying this, but I think that basically what's happened is the King James Bible was just translated and distributed from this ancient, uh, what language? Latin, right?
Yeah.
To a language that everybody can read and
Yeah.
use without needing to go to church and have somebody translate for you, which is what it used to be. Like, it used to be that agencies held the key to successful ads. And if you
That's
did
right.
not have, if you're not paying the agency fees, then you were really limited at what you could do. But now this just like anybody can do it. So I think that the people who might, not like it are people who have figured out some complex way to do a simple thing,
Hmm.
and now they're forced to simplify just like everybody else, and it makes them feel a little bit like, what where how do we differentiate ourselves now? Like, AI has just taken my lunch and eaten it. And
Hmm.
but for everybody else who all they want is to put up a simple video or a simple ad, whether it's a carousel or image or video, and get the results they want, and AI automatically, like 24/7, they're watching it and they're adjusting it for you.
Yeah.
It just works really well. So I think that that's where the direction all platforms are going. I think TikTok is the one that really got smart about figuring out what videos and what content to push and what not to push based on human behavior. And Meta has just taken that AI model and applied it to ads.
Yeah. So if we were to think about that from, I guess it's an interest based model now. It's a you better make your video interesting to people. What is actually working now instead?
Yeah. So the way that these ads work, and organic, and it's the same. This one principle applies to both. Is that the only thing that they care about is the percentage of watch time. So if you have a 5-minute video and it gets watched 5 minutes by 100% of the people, they will keep showing it to a bigger and bigger and bigger audience until the interest starts lagging and starts going to 50%, 10%. And then once they see the interest lagging, like there's levels of separation, right? Like, I know you, Alex, you watched a video for me, you might watch it 100%, but you show it to your mom or dad, there's like, who's this guy? And they might not watch it, right? So
Yeah.
then that's what I mean by levels of separation. But the more levels of separation that are willing to watch your video all the way through, the further your video will go. So I'm going to teach like one really simple hack. Is maybe you put out a great video and it got to 1,000 or 2,000 views, and you're like, wow, this is good, but then it just stops there. What I would do is I would go into Instagram or YouTube or whatever platform you're on and look at that engagement graph and see where it drops off.
Yeah.
Now, there's two things you could do. Number one, you can go and re-edit the video and try to fix that dip. Maybe you paused for too long, or maybe you used a word that was confusing to your viewer. Or the other thing you could do is literally just chop your video right there and have it end right there unexpectedly where it doesn't look like it's supposed to end, and then re-upload it. Because if you're cruising at 50 or 60% at the 20-second mark, and then it drops to 10% at the 51-second mark, if you cut that video there, what's going to happen is that you're hanging up the phone on them, right? You're and at an unexpected point, and you just got like a much higher view range, and then you're going to re-upload that, and you already know exactly what percentage people are going to be at that moment in the video, and now you have a more high engaging video. Now, if the video doesn't make any sense, then you want to rethink how you structure your videos. But this is one simple way. Basically, what happens is we just go on for too long in our videos, and that's the problem. And people don't watch all the way to the end. So yeah, just cut the video off where people are still interested, not
Yeah.
after they lose interest. And one of the things that you got to think about is, like, what are we signaling to the viewer about the end of the video? We might start saying like, well, that's all I have for today. You're telling them that you're about to end the video and that they should leave, right? It's like, hey, I hope you enjoyed that. Like, don't ever do that. Now you're not going to get them to the 100% mark. If you say something like, so that's the step one, step two, step three, and that's all. Like, if you tell them there's going to be three, and then you get to three, you've just cut your legs out from under yourself, because now they're not going to watch the last 5 or 6 seconds. So cut it off when they're not expecting it to cut off. Now, this is mostly for organic. With paid ads, then sometimes there's you need a call to action, and that's going to be a different game. But this is the organic game, is cut it off before they expect.
Yes. That's cool. So I want to talk about this organic game, and particularly with your storytelling frameworks. You just talked about sometimes you just keep going on and talking. The term
I call
you've
it
used, and
rambling old man
I've
syndrome.
I've credited it to you because I heard it from you. You said it was someone else, but I'm still going to call it a Ken Okazakiism. Is the rambling old man syndrome, where people will get out their video, they get out their phone, and they talk, and they just keep talking.
Hmm.
Um, the
I got it
way
from Dennis
I've
Yu,
seen
actually.
you combat this is give people something to talk about using a framework, um, which keeps people on track and within that time frame. And I even think about like the frameworks I've used to whether I'm doing a minute video, minute 30, whatever it is, I can actually follow the framework, keep it within the time. So can you kind of tell us about what the importance of having a framework is in there? Maybe even explain one for everyone who's listening.
Yeah, I'm sure we've all seen, the effects of plagiarism, and you watch a video and you're just like, or read a piece of content and you're like, this guy has just taken this script, fed it to ChatGPT, and said, please reword this, and then they, spit out their own
Yeah,
version, and that's the trap we don't want to fall into, and that's called copying, right? But when you have a framework, it's kind of like you take the ingredients from your own wealth of knowledge and experience, and you put it into a mold of a framework that I provide, and that way it's your content, my shape and form, and that way it's the most effective way of stealing the formula that makes it work, but then making it completely your content.
yeah,
So an example that I have is that I use for paid ads. I call it the Nisada framework, and this is a simple ad format to get more people into your social media so that you can nurture them and convert them eventually. Nisada is not a Japanese car company, even though it does sound like one. And it stands for niche identity. No, sorry, niche ideal outcome struggles. Ask after struggles is, wait, hold on. Desires, and then ask again.
yeah.
So you start with the niche. So the video might start with like, hey, if you're a coach, right? Niche, ideal outcome, and you want leads every day, you want your videos to be noticed by the right people, and you're and you want to do it in less than 10 minutes a day. Okay, so that's ideal outcome times three.
Now
And then
struggles.
no, and then we go to ask.
Okay.
Niche, ideal outcome, ask. Follow me here, where I give tips about this every day. So we go, so we do the ask right away for people who don't have time, right? And
Okay.
then we go into NISAD. D is going to be the no. Oh, sorry, I should have done struggles first. You see, that's how I have a framework. So if you're a coach, uh, an ideal outcome.
Ideal outcome.
Yes, but then you struggle with consistency. Your videos go flat, and only your parents ever watch it, and they never buy. Right? Then follow me here every day, and then desires. So the desire is what you want beyond that, and you're hoping your coaching business is eventually going to become a full-time job, and you'll be able to have the freedom you always wanted while changing lives. That's the kind of stuff we talk about every day here. Click below, follow me here on social media.
Awesome.
It's like a 30-second script, but all I have to do is remember Nisada, and this is what I tell my clients. Hey, how's your Nisada going? And they're just like, oh yeah, great. But I just made a version that's for coaches who want to get on social media.
Yeah.
You can make a version for pet owners. You can make a version for, somebody who installs ACs, HVAC. So that's going to be completely that's a great example of a framework where you put your own content in, use my framework. It's a proven framework. It works. Spend $5 a day. You'll be getting leads every day.
I mean, I love that simply because something I hear from a lot of coaches is, okay, they're brilliant at what they do, but they just don't know what to say. I mean, hell, this is the same thing. I go back and think about like when I was in college or whatever, in dating, it's like, well, what should I say to her? Like, people don't know what to say in all kinds of things. At an interview, what should I say in my interview? Oh, if I want to go meet Tony Robbins, what should I say to Tony? Knowing what to say. Okay,
Hmm.
here's the framework, and this is something else that I've learned from you, and I can't remember exactly how you say it, but it's about storytelling and using this framework with plugging in your stories. And of course, I do story brands, so I love stories. And this, what you say really resonates, which is make sure it's a story only you can tell, which that therefore makes it not chat GPT, because anyone could give whatever story it is, but they can't give a story about me when I was 16 years old. Plug it into that framework, knowing who my niche is and my clients are, what the desires are, and it'll absolutely speak to that person. That that's beautiful in there, because again, that it gives enough structure. I'll talk about me. When I was using them, it gave enough structure where I can say, this is the piece of content, this is the story I want to tell, this is the framework I should put it in. So it was easy for me to plug it into this order, and then I just something else that you teach us is actually don't script it out. And I know some people will teach that, but you say don't script it out, have your notes here in this framework and talk it out, which again results, and even from the other students, is like seeing just how great their videos are, because they're delivering well, they're delivering naturally, because again, it's them, it's not just something that they read and had chat gpt write.
Hmm. Yeah,
So that's super
absolutely.
there. Okay.
I think that there is a place for scripting, and I think that people should learn to do both. And the place for scripting might be paid ads where you have a very tight amount of time and every single word counts.
Okay.
And I'll just give a quick tip around that. I call it the goldfish method, which is where you literally are going to write out your script where each line is going to be, 3 to 5 words max. And you don't need a memory longer than a goldfish. All you need to do is read one line, then look up, smile, and then deliver that line to the camera. And you might want to say that line 2 or 3 times, then look down, look at the next line, look up, like literally 3 to 5 words per line. And the magic of editing will just erase that. And you'd be surprised at how many people think you actually, memorize that and set it all the way through. So I am shocked that sometimes something that simple is like the breakthrough for my students in my coaching program.
Well,
And and I'm just like, well, it's really simple, guys. And then they just go, oh my goodness, I did not know that's how it worked. This is too easy now, and they feel like they got the cheat code. So if anyone listening feels like that's the cheat code, then that's what we all do, except for movie actors when they could do a 5 minute monologue. That's not me. I cannot do that.
well, most of our coaches did not get into coaching so they could memorize a bunch of scripts. And I'm going to reemphasize just what Ken said, because that, for me, that was one of the breakthrough things. It's like, you mean I don't have to say all of this. I only have to do like one line at a
Yep. No
time.
teleprompter. Just write your notes down and do one line at a time. And you
Like,
can have
okay, if
ChatGPT script it
you're
out for you,
listening
so
to
it's real
this, you
nice
may
and
not
tight.
see it, but like if you're watching the video, it goes like this. You have your camera and you say blah 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 blah. You look at your next line, blah 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 blah, and then you edit it. And again, this is gonna be my plug right now. Like, I don't know whatever Ken's offering right now. Whenever you're listening to this, we're gonna make sure that he tells us so I can send it to you. But like, it's the act of doing this with Ken that, even in just this little bit that that he just explained, that it makes such a big difference. And Ken, you're right. It's simple, but it's one of these things. And I think for a lot of people who are coaches and they look into video courses, they want to be better on video, they think about social media, and it just seems like this big giant to do. Um, I have to say this too. We're both guys. Okay, I can say this for myself. I don't do this. Maybe you do, but like women, it's probably
The
unfair
hair, the
cultural thing.
makeup,
They
the
have to do their
clothes.
hair. They
Yeah,
got to put
yeah.
on their makeup. Like us, we just kind of roll out of bed, make sure our hair is somewhat straight,
Hmm.
and we roll on to video. But like, whatever preparation that is the preparation we feel like we need to do. But this just your video methods take it to another level of simplicity of explanation that makes it seem like, oh yeah, I can actually do this really well.
Hmm.
So actually, I've got a question. You brought this up. So we have the magic of editing. Obviously, there's pretty simple editing programs. What today with AI editors, with overseas editors who are absolutely talented and very affordable, with CapCut and all kinds of things we can do ourselves. How important is a certain level of production now in like 2026?
You know, I think that a lot of people. Okay, I'm going to give an analogy here. Here in Japan, there's a lot of tourists recently from all over the world. For some reason, genetically, Japanese, like 98% of Japanese don't have body odor. Even though we sweat, like it doesn't stink. But we're discovering that Westerners, what they do is they just like cake themselves with deodorant and perfume, and the smell is so strong because they want to mask their body odor, right? Now, don't worry, this is going somewhere. I think that when it comes to like using effects and like all these fancy edits and B-roll and music and sound effects, there's a place for that. But some people compensate for just having, a really stinky video with piling a bunch of crap on it. And what they really actually need to get to is instead of masking it, actually get better at the basics. Like, are you framed properly? Is the sound really clear? Are you emoting to the camera or to the viewer? And like that's what's going to make the difference. And a really great video is not going to be about the effects. It's going to be about the performance. It's going to be about the framing of the camera. It's going to be about the audio. And I can't emphasize this enough. A lot of times my clients come to me and there's like, oh, I did my work. Have a look. And I'm just like, all right, take all that titling off. All you need is bold text right under your chin. That's the only titling you need. Logos on your screen, that is going to like kill your engagement. People see a logo and they run. Justly, they think it's an ad.
Hmm.
Essentially, why else would you have a logo there? You're trying to advertise yourself, right? It's not real engagement. You're trying to look corporate, right? Um, Even things that just look like okay, what's happening? Like if you're a coach, and you're creating content, mostly it's going to be educational, and educational content is really hard to make it go viral, to get it in front of all the right people. So you need to do everything possible to make it entertaining and make it feel like kind of like it's off the cuff rather than highly produced. And that's when people are going to actually listen to and believe what you say rather than be skeptical and having forcing you to spend more and more money for your videos to get noticed by anyone. So it's the basics. It's the basics.
It is basics, but if we think about it, I mean, any coach who's listening to this, you're right. Our educational stuff, we need to make it feel a little bit more like a conversation, like it's off the cuff, and it's not this super highly produced thing. I don't know. I think about it. It's like because super highly produced is relatively accessible now, it's almost like if you're gonna bother to produce something, it's gonna have to be like super, super world class, like Hollywood production quality to be able to stand out. Otherwise, it just looks half baked. But
Yeah,
if
but
we
the
look
most
on the
important
other
thing is
end of
still the
it, which is just
actor,
completely
like your
authentic,
performance,
what's that?
right? The most important thing is still going to be your
Yeah,
performance.
it's still gonna be the
Like
performance.
what's a hit movie that came out recently? I don't know. The Greatest Showman, right?
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman like crushed that
yeah.
performance. Now replace Hugh Jackman with Ken Okazaki. I don't think the movie would have been as big a hit. I just don't think so
I can still
because
see you
the
out there doing the
performance level
musicals,
is
Ken,
different, right?
singing all that.
So like all the effects, they had so much CG in there. So they had people on cables
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff going on. But the performer was still the most important part
Hmm.
of the performance.
Yes.
So when people think they could just, like I'm just going to sit here and read a teleprompter like a newscaster or a weatherman, and the editor is going to make it amazing. It's like, no, 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 no. The editing is like 10% of it's important 10%, but it is 10%. Your
Yeah.
performance and how you actually produce the video in the first place is the biggest needle mover. And that's where reps come in. You got to start, you got to and continue, and
Yeah.
you'll keep getting better.
Yeah. Okay. So that brings up something in my mind, which I'd love to know your opinion on. And I don't know if you and I have actually ever talked about this, but it's AI. So now with video, there's AI avatars. There's stuff called faceless video channels. Um, there are one of our friends, Onik Single. My joke about Onik is I never know if it's actually Onik or if it's AI Onik because his avatar is actually really good now. I'm curious to know from your point of view and your expertise, like where's AI's place with this? Um, because I'm sure a lot of coaches are thinking about using that. Some coaches are, in fact, I will say this. Maybe we can weave this in. Some coaches are afraid to be like Hugh Jackman, to get good, and so they say, "Well, I'll just use my AI avatar instead." What are your thoughts on the place of AI avatar or AI in video?
I Tinder and all these dating apps, they came out when I was already married. Like I got married in like the year 2001. Okay. So I don't know. I haven't experienced this, but I'm going to guess that when people see a profile picture and then they meet the person for real and they look like they're 10 years apart, then there's a little bit of a disconnect there, and you've just
Ken,
broken
I
trust.
did date using Tinder, and yes, that's exactly what happens sometimes.
And that's the difference with AI, right? It's going to give a version of you. Let's say that AI gets so good that nobody could tell the difference. It looks totally real. So you're all over social media and they're like, wow. And then you show up on a Zoom call for the sales appointment, or maybe people show up to your live, in-person event, and you're on stage and they're like, this is not the same person, or this is the 10 years older version, or why does he talk like that, and not like he did in the videos? I think that disconnect is going to shoot you in the foot. I really do. uh, let's assume that AI gets so good that's indiscernible from reality. It's also going to be the polished version of you. So from that point on, people are always going to wonder, hey, is this the real Alex? Is this the real John Doe? Or is this the AI version? I would rather people see me mess up on my words a little bit, see, maybe a few stray hairs, see, the version of me that is exactly what they're going to see if we get on a live Zoom call or meet in person at one of my events. So that's what I think the gap is. Now, if you never plan to have a live interaction with your clients, well, then go for it. You can use AI to be your puppet, like, and you can, and yeah, you'll probably do pretty well. But if you plan to have live interactions at some point, then I think you should start with the real version of yourself.
So, with coaches in particular, I think that's super important because there are other people who teach marketing and StoryGrand than me. There are other people who teach video than you. But there's going to be people who watch this and listen to this and who are like, there are going to be some people who are like, that guy Ken Okazaki is a jerk, and I can't stand his voice. And guess what? They're never going to hire you. And then there's going to be other people who hear the way that you converse, the way that you interact, they get this vibe from you, and they're like, you know what? I like his vibe. I'd love to hire him as a coach, not just because of your level of knowledge. Level of knowledge, I think, is important when we're buying a course, maybe even some sort of limited engagement, but especially thinking about going on. Especially if you're like a life coach and you're working with someone, you're planning to work with them for 6 months or a year, and you're going to be talking with them every week about the deepest, darkest things in their life. It doesn't matter what certifications you have, they're going to want to know you. And one of the easiest and best ways to do that, to make them feel like they know you, is to meet the authentic you on video, meaning they're watching your videos, they're seeing your content, and knowing it's actually you. Again, if AI can program some, I don't know, like if I'm a little snarky and sarcastic and a bit of a jerk, but it's nice, it's in a funny way and it's in an endearing way, and I can program my bot to do that, maybe that's going to be okay.
Maybe.
That's not where it is in 2025 or
Well, the
2026.
whole point of AI and like the digital double is to make a more polished, more perfect version of yourself.
Hmm.
And that's always going to be a disconnect from your. It just means that you haven't trained yourself to feel confident in delivering at that authentic level. And whether it's on video or in person, like that skill carries through.
Yeah.
It is worth the time and the effort to work on yourself to become confident on camera, to be able to articulate well, and to push that version out. It's like I saw this ad which I thought was hilarious. Just like it was a Photoshop ad, I think, and it was just like, cancel your gym membership, get Photoshop. you know uh, maybe it was a satire ad, I'm not sure, but yeah, you can, but that's like, do you really want to just project the image of what you think people want to see about you, or become the person? And I think as a coach, you would probably want to become the person rather than the digital version of what you wish you were.
That I know a lot of coaches, and if you're listening to this, you may agree or may disagree. Most of the coaches I know did not get into coaching because they wanted to sell stuff. They got into coaching because they wanted to share their knowledge, they wanted to help people, they want to transform people's lives or businesses or whatever it is. And what I can kind of foresee is if someone already decides for whatever reason, hey, I don't feel like I'm good on camera, I'm going to use my polished AI. And they get so good with that and they put out tons of content and their content gets all kinds of um, all kinds of engagement and people opting in. And then it comes time to actually work with people. I can foresee a good bit of whether it's going to be imposter syndrome because they know, okay, they just saw this whole thing that I know is AI Alex, and now they're going to have to talk to real Alex.
Hmm.
Like, then all that marketing effort is for naught. Because they're actually, if you're a coach, they're like you said, Ken, if they're never going to talk with you ever, then I guess it'll be okay.
Yeah, you
But
can
if they're
make
going to
your whole
talk to you at
course
some
and
point,
everything.
we got to let them know who you are somewhere. Guys, um, especially if you the curse of doing well, you get to the sales point, or you're meeting them on Zoom or whatever it is, and they see the real you. You're going to have a problem.
Hmm.
So it sounds like the answer is, well, start to get good on. I don't even know it's getting good on camera. It's like
Just
get on
start, and
camera.
you get good by starting.
Yeah. Get good by starting, get but good by taking these shortcuts, which are these frameworks that you can utilize and understand how these work. Obviously, there's going to be the algorithms and things like that, but ultimately, it sounds like to be able to get good engagement on your videos is, well, be more,
And
tell good stories, tell good content and frame it in a way that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Look, I'll tell you what, I think that a lot of, you're saying before how video content creation and marketing is kind of like this. It feels like a big complicated thing. I'll simplify it real easy for you. Okay, like if you're looking for leads for your coaching business, and you know that if you get people on a call, you'll have a certain close rate, probably 30% or so, then the model is really simple. Number one is you create organic content using frameworks like the Nisada, like the 3 and 3. And Alex, I would love to gift the training for that to anybody who's listening. I'll
Oh,
send
that's
you the link later,
fantastic.
and you could put it into the description.
Yeah, we'll put in the notes.
So that's step one, is actually create organic. Now, step two is measure and figure out like which ones are working better than others and boost them. I'm talking about $5 a day type of budget. I think most people can stomach $5 a day to get started. Right now, I am literally spending $5 a day to run my business, and we're a 7-figure business, and that's enough. Okay. So now what you need is an AI autoresponder somewhere in between. This is something that's going to look at everybody who is engaging with your content, and it's just going to send them some value up front, which is a lead magnet. It's like, hey, by the way, thanks for liking, thanks for commenting, thanks for following. Here is something I think that you're really going to love. Right now, people who respond back after I DM them automatically, and AI is doing this, by the way, and it's a simple tool called ManyChat that does this. Then I ask some probing questions, and that's all pre-programmed. It's like, hey, by the way, are you X looking for X? 80% of the people are going to ignore that. That's fine. 20% are going to respond, and maybe 10% are going to respond positively. Now, those people, all the people who respond positively, that's when a human, myself, comes in and starts seeing if they're a good fit. And then if they are, I'll send them to a VSL, video sales letter, which very heavily influenced by Don Miller, Alex's expertise. And they watch a 5 to 10 minute video. And after that, they're invited to have a call with myself or somebody on my team. That's all there is to it. That's all there is. Create short form, spend $5 a day boosting it, have AI deliver a lead magnet, invite them to a VSL, close the sale. Like we're not signing up for any complex funnel software. The VSL can be hosted on YouTube as unlisted. You don't even need to have a landing page. And then in the description of the YouTube video, you can have a link to, your Google Calendar. Google Calendar now has a booking system built in. You don't need Calendly or, anything else on top of that. That's all you need. So, and that can be set up very quickly if you're confident in what you're, in your program, and if you know exactly what you want people to do and to think and feel about you before they get on a call. And that could all be done in the VSL, the video sales center. It's that simple. It's that simple.
And of course, you got frameworks for the VSL as well.
I actually created a whole bot that will just interview you and keep probing and then spit out a really great script. And VSLs, I do recommend scripting. I do.
Yeah, okay.
Because every single second counts, and you got to keep this curiosity loop going. There's a bit of an art there. You got to hook them. You got to tell the story at this point and stuff like that. So that is something to be scripted. Again, the Goldfish method. Or if you're fancy, get a teleprompter. That's up to you.
I can say I have the teleprompter. I have the Goldfish method. The Goldfish method is so easy because, again, you can use the Goldfish method while you're walking outside. You can use the Goldfish method while you're, if I were sitting on the other side of my office over here. You can use it anywhere. Teleprompter just takes a little bit more work, and you got to get it set up and everything, but we can still have everything scripted. I mean, while we're walking out in the park, it can be scripted. And sometimes we want our videos to be, have different backgrounds and things like that. In fact, one of the things with Meta Andromeda now, so we're talking about paid ads, but I think this will probably carry into organic as well, is like if your videos all look the same, meaning if I got the same background in all my videos, I'm wearing a black t-shirt in all my videos, it's going to think all my videos are the same, even if I'm saying different things in the videos. So like, just like most people are visual first, if I see if I'm looking at Instagram and I see a picture of Alex in a black t-shirt, I saw that video, this morning. I don't need to watch it. It might be a completely different video. Well, the algorithm is being trained to act like a person. Oh, it looks like the same thing. Even though I might be saying something else, because it looks the same. And so I again, everyone listening here, I think one of the things that I have to say, and again, this is a plug, this is an unashamed plug for Ken, as someone who's worked with Ken for a long time, which is one of the big things is actually getting the opportunity to work in that relationship, just to do the actions in there and see how he works with you. Again, Ken, you've worked with, I mean, gosh, you've been videographer for big names. I think you just spoke at ClickFunnels. You've worked video for some of the biggest names in the coaching industry. You've taught so many people. We don't need to drop a whole bunch of names here, but like, it's in the work that I think is the the knowledge is good, but the work is where your magic is. And I love this analogy you had given in the past, which is like, sometimes you just need a video personal trainer, meaning someone to be there to make sure you do the damn video, and then to help you like adjust the little things as you're doing it, which I know in your coaching program you give the opportunity to do in some of your clients and students, and just the difference that happens in literally seconds is huge. Just witnessing that.
I'll share one last thing. I know we're pressed for time here, but the the people you model and learn from is really important too. And there's a big misconception where somebody who's doing really well on social media and crushing it, they've got the key and they're the ones who you should model. The problem is that a lot of people who are really successful on social media, they're successful for something that is not compatible with what you're doing. For example, if, Kylie Jenner, like lipstick and makeup, right? Amazing. She, like, for any lipstick or makeup influencer, she's the one to follow. But like, you don't want to learn from somebody who whose path is going to so, diametrically oppose the path that you're trying to go.
Yeah.
And on top of it, the other thing is, even if somebody is in your industry and they're doing really well, some people just have a natural ability to show up and shine. And if you ask them how, they're just like, I don't really know. I just show up and do it, right?
Yeah.
Perfect for them. Really sucks for you because you can't really. It's going to be hard for you to put that in a bottle, right? So somebody who's trained a lot of other people to do it, I think that that's the key, because that means there's simple systems and methods to transfer the knowledge from one person to the next. And let's be honest, my Instagram and my YouTube is really small. I've got like barely 8,000, followers, but that's enough to run a seven-figure business. And that's enough for me to reach the right amount of people in the right way, and for them to open their wallets and say, take my money. And I'll say, I will gladly accept and I will help you. Like, that's the model that a lot of people want. And
Yeah.
if that's the model you want, then you might want to consider that. So,
Well,
like, really
that's what I
consider.
think a lot of coaches want. They want to be able to just work with people, help people. They didn't want to become an influencer. They became a coach because they actually want to help people. So cool. Well, Ken, thanks so much for this conversation. I mean, and you're super generous. We'll make sure we get the links and we'll put them. Everyone will put them in the show notes or in the caption or wherever it is that you find this. And I would highly recommend you check out Ken. We'll put his social media on there as well. And if he offers a program, I'm gonna finish with this last thought. I followed Ken for like years, and then one day I was on his Instagram and I saw a video and he offered, oh, I'm going to do a coaching program. And I said, now is my time. Finally, after all of these years, I don't even know if we had any interactions, DMs, anything like that. Maybe a wave. But if you feel that it's your time for video, then I highly recommend checking out what Ken's got going on. So thanks everyone for listening, and thanks Ken, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right, Alex, it was great hanging out.